What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Live Wholism podcast. I am going to be your host today, Ryan, and we have someone who's been on here plenty of times, but love having this dude up here. But it's just going to be me and Mike today.
Yeah, what up? What up?
So we're right back to it. So we're going to start this thing off, y'all, as we always do, with the Serenity Prayer.
Let's do it.
Higher power, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Boom. All right, y'all. So, new announcements here, guys. So we're going to start posting these podcasts on YouTube live. Not live, but they're going to be actual videos of us. So go on our YouTube channel, which is Live Wholism, and you'll see a bunch of shorts and everything. So feel free to comment and everything up there as well. But if you're listening to this on audio, you can write into us your comments or questions or anything you kind of like got going on and thinking about on Apple Podcasts, or you can write us on Instagram, Live Wholism, or the Live Wholism podcast, or feel free to email us at livewholismpodcast, thelivewholismpodcast@gmail.com, or write us a comment on the on our YouTube video, which is pretty freaking fun to be doing right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about the comments, man. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, I like we be seeing some crazy stuff on here, so it's like anything good or bad, we'll take it. So
anything. I mean, like, to be honest, we got a YouTube comment today from somebody. Like, I've been posting. So basically, what we've been doing is posting YouTube shorts every day, just like experimenting. Yeah. So I guess this is some holism news. We've been posting YouTube shorts every day for about 30 days, kind of like experimenting, seeing how it kind of goes, seeing what works, what doesn't work. And we got a comment today from somebody. Actually, we got a comment the other day that someone just said, "Thank you." And I was like,
cool.
Right.
Yeah,
it's cool. And so then we got a comment from someone else today that said, because I had posted up one of our animation explanation videos. We were talking about the different ingredients, stuff like that, and we were talking about chamomile. And the person said, well, looking at this video is going to make me not sleep, and I'm going to have insomnia now. And I was like, well, all right, you can just not watch it. Whatever, man.
Yeah, no. I mean, honestly, Ryan, like, once again, this is such a cool thing that you do. It's people that you know, it's friends, it's family. It is everyday people just having good conversation about certain things. So, I mean, it doesn't always have to be something that has an angle, you know what I mean? Or just dialogue that has, what's the initiative? It's like, let's just talk. So, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get into the meat of the podcast and talk about what we've been doing to stay whole and nourished physically and mentally and emotional. And when emotionally, I keep saying emotionally. Lucy says that a lot, and I just pick up on her isms after a while. I'm like, this is just what's happening.
Shout out to Lucy.
Shout out Lucy. Yeah. And emotionally, and we're gonna follow that up with the topic.
Sure.
So right now, physically, Mike, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you though straight up. I'm gonna just go ahead and start mine off and then let you go. But I started going to the dietitian over there at O2. And so I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Like, I didn't like the questions that were being asked. I didn't like, as I'm like listing out what I'm truly eating out there, I'm just like, shit.
Yeah.
None of this makes any sense. The more I'm talking about it. And
I was saying, what part of the fact that you like, hey, look, man, like, this is what I'm putting in my body every day. Is that what it is?
It's more like as I'm saying it out loud and like I'm hearing it from her ears and I'm like, shit, this doesn't sound good at all.
Yeah, I tell you what, like usually like I said, guys, we're going on 16 years, man, dealing with health and wellness, man, and just dealing with people. And the best questions that I just ask about really what their nutrition habits are. Not necessarily like their diet. I mean, diet is actually what you're putting in your body. Nutrition is all right. Like how like nutrient dense is, the food that you eat every day. So habits are like, okay, let's just start with this. Do you eat 3 square meals a day? Do you try to make healthy choices? Do you properly hydrate? We'll start with that. And then from there, it's almost like, yeah, coach, I probably ain't no food. So it's like 12 o'clock. I wake up, get coffee, walk the dog, and then I don't eat nothing, and I hop on my Zoom call. And it's like, all right. So like, then what you eat? I'm DoorDashing some shit. And it's like, all right, well, let's start with, are they healthy choices? And it's like, no, it sucks. It's like, okay, all right, we'll start with that. Let's get some habits first, and then from there, we'll talk about why eating Little Caesars every day ain't gonna cut it. So,
and that's the thing. Like, as I was talking to her, I started like coming to this conclusion. Like, like I've always known my eating has always been tough. But one of the things that like I think I've never particularly had is like someone to be there to like be like, all right, like, well, here's like some different. I mean, outside of you, but like just like, all right, here's some different things that like let's try this. And like, as I'm like explaining to her, like how I didn't realize how active I am as well. I don't think I really realized how much I actually do. And so, it was actually kind of exciting though. One of the things though she has me doing, or that she suggested that would help her, is like when I'm eating, like they have like this food journal thing. So you can take a picture. Yeah. And like when you're eating, and then she was like, Ryan, I'll just ask you this. Just be transparent. Yeah. Like, the
word. No, that's starting to grow, man. Everybody's like, okay, full transparency. ... You're like, well, first off, all right. So look, it's kind of things like people say, like, man, I ain't gonna lie. It's like, all right, then.
Yeah, this one, she was like, don't like take pictures of just when you're doing good, and I was like, fuck. And right. So like, I decided to hear that. And me to like, because she said that, it makes me stop and go, fuck, I'm about to do it again. Because just the other night, I was like telling her like one of my things I kind of struggle with. Like I was telling her like I go play tennis, I go do these things, and she was like, yeah, like I can understand why like you're so hungry after your match, even if you're full. She was like having like a banana or something before, or something like afterwards, kind of. Because I was telling her, I was like, well, my problem is that after the matches, I'll like eat donuts and like all these different things. And she was just like, yeah, I can imagine. She was like, because your body is just like so glucose deficient.
Yeah,
she was like, it's like, what
your
else?
Glycogen storages are low. So it's like, yo, I want some sugar.
Yeah. I didn't realize how real that shit was.
Yeah.
And so when she said that, I was like, damn, like that actually makes a lot of sense. So like it because I was telling her I eat a lot of cookies and all these different things. And so what it's made me do though is like, I'm having to like, it at least gives me pause before I do these things, which I was just doing almost unconsciously. Well, even consciously, I didn't particularly feel good about it, but I was like, well, fuck it. But but I was also telling her like stress, like, work stuff, all these different things. Well, at least not work, but checks and everything. And I found myself doing it again. Like I was taking a food journal and I was like looking at my food and like, I was like, fuck, I'm eating cookies again that night. And like I wrote down in like the little journal thing, I was like, I don't feel good about this, but but I'm doing it.
So a good cue, y'all, is like, so similarly, it's like, okay, I'll use your example as good, right? Like, okay, so you're like, after I'm doing tennis matches, like this is what I typically consume. And it's like, all right, but beforehand, you're intentional about eating something that nourishes you.
Yeah.
Because in your mind, you're trying to fuel for performance.
Yeah.
Okay. If you think about that daily, right? Like, okay. If that's why I use the word habits, right? If the habit of doing something active, etc., then what comes with it is eating well for that edification, right? For what I want to do. So it's a good way to shift like one good habit to another good habit. So I try to frame it like that, right? And usually it works well. It's almost like, all right, there's that moment of like, well, I ain't doing nothing right now. I'm chilling, about to eat me some cookies. Yeah. But that's the truth. But it like, as a whole, it shifts a little. So I mean, there's something to be said. It's just that kind of like I'm not going to hold you accountable, but I'm going to try to give you a habit to where it makes you kind of look and pause for a second. Like,
I think that's the first thing that like I can literally say that like this has kind of been doing is like it's literally making me pause and pay attention. I mean, last night I took a picture of my food and I had some popcorn, and I should have wrote, I was like, look, I'm not proud of this one, but like my check hasn't been deposited yet. Like, so I'm just like, whatever's kind of around the house right now. I'm just getting back. It's late as hell. I like, there's a thing of just like, I don't want to, I start to kind of like, when I start have to like ration things out because I'm still waiting on a check. Like I start going like, all right, what am I going to need for the next day in order to get me through until the next week and stuff like that. And so, like, paying attention to that and everything has been super. I don't think it's something I've ever done before, like so consciously, and or at least in this moment, I can say felt like someone's paying attention to it closely now.
But check this out, right? It's wild, man. Like, essentially, you're meal prepping. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But look. So, y'all check this out, y'all. Like, and it's like you guys can look. There's so many influencers right out there.
Insane.
Yeah, and everyone, and they're getting paid to do it. And it's like I'm telling you, guys know an influencer. They literally set the whole thing up like a stage, and it's like, I have to go to work to influence. And I'm saying that to say, not as a negative, or to throw any shade or anything, but it's like I don't want to say this. There's a motive behind them showing that they're meal prepping.
As in, like, this particular thing is going to lead to this. So
right.
How genuine is this?
Right. Okay. So, like I said, I'm not saying it's no shade. I'm saying is people don't know it, like, whether you ain't got much in the fridge or you have an abundance, like, access to food. Yeah. You kind of prep in your head based off how you're feeling. So it's like, and why I'm going back to like helping people just kind of get better habits. It's like you just want to take something that they do and don't realize, you do that habitually anyways. Mm-hmm. You just gave me a small example, and it's like, but you planned in your mind, like, okay, I know by Friday, this is going to be like my accessibility about what I'm going to do. Until then, I'm going to work with this. Yeah. And it's like, a good habit, y'all, is like, hey, listen, just do that initially. It doesn't have to be with something that's, the best meal that you saw your influencer make, but it's like, hey, just have intention. And if you do that, like, combine it with your activities, all of a sudden now you're developing two good habits, right? It doesn't have to be something, like I said, is completely nutrient dense, but it's like, okay, we at least start with that as a habit. Once you get that, and all of a sudden it's like, all right, well, shoot, what can I sprinkle in that's a little healthier? You know what I mean? Or that's a better choice.
What you're saying, like, when you mean like this habit, you're saying, like, for example, like in my particular case, money and like how that's starting to influence my decisions as far as like food. Like, I'm rationing food out right now because it's a little bit more of a desperate situation. But what you're saying is like, okay, so I'm already doing this, so why not do that? Like,
there you go,
the whole time.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. To be honest, like, it's a thing of,
it ain't easy.
I work really well under pressure. Yeah. However, like, there's always this looming thing over me that, like, I know my money is gonna come, and I'll be able to like do a better job of like, when I'm feeling, the weird thing is, when I'm feeling good and I'm feeling comfortable, I actually do a really good job of meal prepping and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's when I get stressed that all of my bad habits come back out.
Right. Think about this, man. Like, okay, we can stretch with that, right? Like, so, like, food is tough, bro. Like, I mean, and Ryan, trust me, man, I am not flawless. Like I'll be the first one to go get me a gas station honey bun and warm that thing up, and I'm feeling great for the night. But to be honest, I'm pretty self-aware when I do it, right? And it's something that I intentionally know that I want, that I don't need. So I'm giving myself the opportunity to say like, okay, you want this, go for it. Mm-hmm. Not like, hey, go make it up later, but just I have it. It's very intentional because we talked about it a second ago, so it doesn't overtake me, So and I do find myself saying, all right, I ain't gonna do that no more, and I just literally stop.
And I think that's what I've been missing. Like I think that's what so far this dietitian kind of like, she ain't said anything. I sit back and see her face and go like, fuck. Yeah. Like, I know what I'd be thinking if I was in your shoes and I was saying these things. So like for the first time, as I'm like saying them out loud, I think that's why it helps to be able to have like someone who's like to try. It's one of these things that I'm learning to try to like curb these bad habits. I think for me, I feel like it's impossible to do by yourself. And I think that I think that what's happening a lot is, I'm not going to speak for a lot of people, but for myself, like I tried to do this all by myself until I realized like, I can't do this shit by myself. And so at least to initially kick me off, like at least for right now, like I am starting, like just in this one particular week, like I'm mostly a self-aware person, but there are certain things that I'm just like, and like you just saying this gas station honey bun, I just go get those things and just be like, all right, whatever, it's cool.
So, I mean, right, and as we talk about food, man, there's such a tie, man. There's such an emotional tie, and as far as satisfaction or lack thereof to like what you eat, and which is it's such a, I don't say a tough thing to break, but when I was saying it earlier regarding like influences, right? It's like it doesn't have to be this like amazing meal, right? It's just basically saying like, hey, like you're kind of being intentional about what you're eating anyways. Yeah. So let me just try to create a better habit in that way. So, I mean, that's the cool part. I ain't gonna lie, man. Like, nothing's impossible. We know that, but it's like, it's wild when someone says, hey, listen, like, you ever thought of it like this? And when they give you that perspective, all of a sudden you get like this light bulb moment.
Boom. Yeah. And it's something that like, I've thought about my food habits for a really long time. Yeah. It's just to then like, because the problem is I'm the healthier one out of my freaking family. So everybody's looking at me like, Ryan, can you show me something? Right. No, I'm not good at this at all. But like then to have someone else to give me the suggestion, or like, it's not even a suggestion yet. Like, well, she did give me like a sheet of things to look at. And I was like, oh, that's pretty dope. But it does, like, for me, all I got to do is like see like an eyebrow raised, or just like look at you looking at me, and I'm just like, I see myself through you right now, and I realize how crazy I look.
I mean, it's such a sensitive subject too. You know what I mean? Like, it don't have to be, man. Like, it's like one of the things behind clothes. Like, I eat. Listen, this is the crazy thing. Like, hey, so I asked somebody. So listen, let's talk about like, I don't want to know about your diet. Let's just talk about some of your nutritional habits, right? Let's grade them, right? Like, listen, I want you to do this. We're going to rate them poor, or like they need improvement, or they're probably average, or they're above average. I'm like, this is your sheet. Like, you just tell me how you use. So I say, okay. And so they don't think for a second. And all of a sudden I'm like, all right, so let me kick you off with this. And I said, like I said earlier, right? I'll say, hey, do you try to eat 3 solid meals a day? Let's just start with that, right? Do you try to make healthy choices? Like, what are your snack choices? And then all of a sudden, you see the look on their face, Ryan, and it's like, shit. Just like you said. And I'm like,
I didn't touch that. They just got some awareness.
And you like, listen, I'm not trying to expose you. Like, it don't have to be that sensitive. Like, listen, if I talk to you, I'm like, yo, listen, I eat all kinds of crap. You know what I mean? Like, let's talk about it though. You know what I mean? Like, but the thing is, I'm just trying to raise some awareness. Like, you're trying to go on this, like, on this journey of like getting back to maybe getting with a trainer, and your body's asking for more demand. Yeah. Right. And it's like, hey, so let's try to, and I go to it, let's try to eat for performance now. Right. Yeah. Then once they do, it's like, we got to put it on paper though. We got to talk about what we're doing. So that's that thing, man. It's like, whoa, like the mirror's on me. It's like, nah, chill out. Yeah, you eat a whole box of pizza. That's okay.
Yeah. What about you though, man? What's it look like?
Yeah. So I ain't Ryan, like, look, man, like lately, I'll tell you this, right? And it's really helping me a lot, like this midday type of activity. So physically, I just been trying to expand the experience that I'm doing when it comes to like meditation and stuff. So I've been very intentional about like meditating in the sauna.
Oh, word.
Yeah, Ryan. Like I don't, and the thing is, like, listen, it's not like if you kind of look up like the health benefits of like, like being in a sauna, right? They're very similar to what happens when you find a quiet time and able to meditate, right? Mm-hmm. Lower your helps with circulations, lower your blood pressure, increases your immune system, just a number of things that just kind of clears your mind.
Yeah. ...
Right? And it's like just putting myself in this in a different environment allows for that experience to be intensified a little bit. And it's been cool. And I don't want to say intensified, but maybe just me, right? Just I feel like timing is everything. Like I've been deliberately doing it like middle of the day. I mean, I take on a lot in a lot of conversations and do a lot of like, people interactions, so like it allows me to kind of like reset to continue throughout my day. Not that I was looking for it, but it's been very just I don't want to say uplifting, but just kind of like I get this really feeling of just stripping the morning. Not that the morning needs to be stripped. It's just like it's very cleansing to continue. It's like the day starts well with gratitude, and then like I finish the morning by reflecting, and then restart to bring it into the evening. And this could be a little bit like, I don't know, like that transition into like morning to night, or just knowing like the sun rose and, I start the day with good gratitude, and I'm going to meditate, after a good workout midday to get myself to where now the sun's going to set soon. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's kind of been probably the past month.
Do you feel like do you feel that kind of like melting off like while you're in the sauna, or is it like once you leave you feel something different?
So initially it starts off, Ryan, that's a good question. Initially it starts off, without much intention, right? And when I'm in it, I feel as if like it's happening. And then when I step out, the process is finished.
What does that feel like when it's like happening? Like, do you like feel anything like on your body?
Yeah. I mean, of course you just, I kind of, I do, Ryan. It gets, I mean, like the typical feeling of a sauna. It starts off just hot in there. And all of a sudden once you get a good sweat and you're able to kind of just get heavy and allow for the toxins to kind of just come out of you and your pores to open, and you just kind of, you kind of put yourself in the same space as if you're meditating. And then from there, it's very cleansing. I leave just feeling like I said, refreshed and reset. It's not long. It's not long. Maybe 15 minutes. Maybe 15, 20 minutes tops.
15 minutes. Like I've been in a meditation meeting before, and I tell you what, like round I can always tell when like it's starting to get to 15 minutes, because like around like 13 minutes I start getting a little bit antsy. Like you can always start to feel it always feels like around that moment is when something's starting to break. Yeah,
man. Yeah, like that's a good point. It's around that mark. So I don't know. I've been I'm saying it because I'm kind of like digging it. You know what I mean? Like not like, oh, I'm gonna do it once and it's like like nah, like that's my thing. You know what I mean? Like I look forward to that process. But it just makes me a better coach, better parent. You
feel like you're more, what's the word I'm looking for? Not aware, but you're more engaged.
Yeah. I mean, not that
you weren't engaged, but I mean, like there is something like for me, like it's like when I'm writing, like there's certain music I have to do in order to like get my mind 1000, like to where it feels like everything else has been cleared out, to where I'm like, sometimes things eke in, but it's very rare once I've kind of like done that that ritual a little bit for myself of like listening to certain music or walking around or saying my prayer, which kind of like feels like cleans everything out.
Nah, you're right. Let me answer that. I'm more locked in, basically. Yeah, I am more locked in.
Which is crazy because I mean, like, you got a wife and kids, so like it can easily like. It would be okay if your mind drifted sometimes, even while you're at work.
I know. Yeah, man. I mean, that's been my jam, man. Like, I'm like, I'll be getting excited. It's fun. I'll leave my office and I have my shoes off and stuff. I'm like, this boy crazy. Where you going? Like, hit the sauna. Like, not that it's this new thing, man, but that's been my thing lately, man. So that's about it. Nothing else. Physically, for the most part, and that kind of goes into a little bit of mental as well. I know we're not there yet, but like it definitely does. And I spoke about gratitude earlier because I've kind of noticed a little bit of, I mean, Ryan, like I said, I don't watch TV, y'all. Like I don't.
What happened?
But I will cut my like trying to saw, and I'll look at like something on YouTube or something. I don't even have Instagram, but like something that may pop up on like Snapchat or something. It'll get my entertainment for a little bit. But what I'm seeing is like just like when you go on like on these search engines, right? Like one thing will come up and then it'll just kind of keep going. And I've been seeing this I don't want to say big, but a continual like pop up of like conversations regarding like happiness and like gratitude.
Yeah.
And like, it's interesting because I'm like, all of a sudden I'll just start following these trends and I'm like, man, okay. Like, I guess that's the new thing to talk about, I guess, like, in the world of like self-help. Right. And it's like expressing gratitude. And I think that's really powerful in a lot of ways. I know we'll dive into it when we talk about mental stuff, but I want to say without seeing that, I've been doing that more, led by probably my own faith, but like not with like influence. Now it's like, okay, well, that could be a little bit oxymoronic, right? Because like there's a lot of subliminal messaging, like in like looking at like these search engines and YouTube and what, like you'll get it, and it's like, okay, true. But I kind of been on that kick. And it was like maybe just I don't say manifesting itself on what I'm searching, but like it's.
Oh, there is an algorithm.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I see that.
It does notice you seeing them.
Yeah. True. But it's like, it's like I've been on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like that drew me to that, and that's what kind of led me to this new physical approach.
See, but that's
midday.
the thing. That's the thing. I like the reason why like I had it kind of sectioned off like this with the podcast was like one of the things that like I've been told about myself is that like I'm able to like everything that I do has eventually gets me to some kind of spiritual awakening or awareness in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So like for me, physical, when I process things physically, sometimes a lot. And so like even you like saying this, like it's so dope to like hear. Like for me, like tennis and these other things have helped me to be able to focus on doing the basics. Because in a lot of ways, like what'll happen for me is everywhere in my life, like I'll end up focusing on everything else except the essentials and the basics that got me there to begin with. So for the basics in tennis, it's making sure I'm looking at the ball and getting my feet and getting myself and my feet in position in order to hit the ball.
Yeah.
So the other day, like I was like literally, I went to the courts to literally just focus and practice on that and saying like, I don't care if I hit it hard. I don't care if there's anything, what else is going on, but I need to make sure that I'm focused on these basics. And I think that tends to bleed itself over into my other parts of my life where like whenever things start getting overwhelmed, I start realizing, oh, I'm neglecting the basics again. Yeah. So like there's this that's a huge spiritual and, mental, beautiful awareness. And so like with you, like in this sauna, this physical thing that you're doing for yourself has brought you to a state of gratitude, which is beautiful. And
so listen, man, like I know we're going to section this thing off, but look, Ryan, I'll tell you, look, man, like I've kind of been having a few conversations with friends about this, man. Like, okay, gratitude, right? And you talked about basics, right? I'm neglecting the basics. When it comes to, and this may touch a few nerves, but when it comes to happiness, right? Like the basics are your needs met?
Yeah.
So check this out, Ryan. I would argue, not strong argue, but like I know there's a lot of people on this planet. But as far as needs, I don't want to say majority. I think let me phrase it this way. If people really could really take their time and ask themselves, are their needs met? And it's okay, well, what are needs? And it's like, okay, you can define those. And it's like certain needs that are met, people would kill for. Like, I don't even have those needs met. Like, I don't even have a roof over my head, right? I don't care if it's in a shack. Like, no, I don't even have $1 to buy the honey bun. And it's like, okay, so needs are met. And it's like, okay, that's the basics. Now once you got that, the rest are just wants.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Ryan, like when you can concentrate on the fact that your basics are met, it opens your eyes up to the things that you essentially want and what matters. So then gratitude can come in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like, I've been finding myself really digging that, like just daily. And it allows me to really, not that my perception wasn't as such in the first place, but the colors are brighter. You know what I mean? Because of that. And it's like, man, like my needs are really, the rest is overflow. And I start thinking about like, man, like even the things that I want, like, are being like fulfilled. And it's like, so that gives me more gratitude. So that middle of the day is like, I don't want to just do it once with intention. Like I want to continuously do it with these moments of really good focus, like in certain sections of the day. So I guess what I've essentially done is added another time to actually sit in that moment.
I was going to say, like, it sounds like pause.
Yeah.
Like it's something that I have to be intentional about every single morning when I wake up, because it's so easy to get up and get going. But, you know, I read something one day and someone was just like, you know, it feels good to wake up and say, good morning, God, instead of good God, it's morning.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, you know, like, and what I'm hearing you do, like in this sauna, feeling all these different things, you get a moment to pause while getting this physical sweat and all these different things. And then what you're seeing and hearing inside is, oh shit, like I'm very grateful right now. That in itself is a very beautiful moment to me, because I mean, like, I know for a long time, like, and I won't speak for a lot of people, but I don't think a lot of people give themselves that moment to pause and like really sit back and assess. Because if I really like to have that moment to assess is a really beautiful thing. Like I tend to do it a lot when I'm just practicing by myself. Like sometimes it helps me to be able to really sit back and go, all right, like if I'm dealing with something really heavy, like sometimes I'll just work it out of me real quick.
Yeah. And
then I can really sit back and it feels like I've almost worked out every one of my complex thoughts. And it's just like, what is it that I'm really wanting? And what is I'm really needing right now?
So, all right, Ryan, look, we can go on the topic.
we can hold some of this for the topic.
Yeah, I know. I'm ready to go into it, man, because like, I with that, man, I'll ask, right? Like, and this isn't for everybody, but why is being grateful hard?
That sounds like what's the word I'm looking for? A preview to the topic.
Yeah, I'm saying
and what we could do.
It kind of is, man.
And what we could do here is we can stop and we can go, all right, we'll go to the mental section. Yeah. But I want y'all to think about that before we get into this thing.
No doubt.
Why is being grateful?
Yeah, we on that.
Hard.
Yeah, we on that tonight.
All right, y'all. Well, we are now going to get into one of my favorite parts of the podcast, which is the mental part. Because that's just where I get to talk about what I've been watching and stuff like that. Yeah, I have just been having a great time with that. Mm-hmm. So, but we've got y'all a preview of what is to come, which is kind of crazy because I've been watching like some stuff that I think I can always tell like where my heart is based off of like what I've been
feeding yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can always see like what is to come. Like, and it's not like that I'm like intentionally feeding it. Yeah. Like I'll usually watch some stuff and I'm just like, man, I don't feel like looking at this. I don't feel like looking at this. But then there's something I'm just like, oh, I can't stop watching this. It's doing something to me. So this past week, man, I was like, you know what I haven't watched? Like, I have not watched that Dragon Ball Z movie that they did this Dragon Ball Z movie, Dragon Ball Super movie for the people out there. Yeah. And it like redeemed this character Gohan. Now Gohan has always been my favorite character because he's a kid that never really wanted to hurt or fight anybody or any of that like crazy stuff. But he was always like one of the strongest in the universe and always scared everybody. But like for the most part, he didn't want no smoke.
Yeah.
But every now and then they keep testing him and they be like, damn, that was the wrong freak. So like, I don't think I understood exactly why I liked him until I got older.
And that's Goku's son, right?
Yeah, it's Goku's son. Yeah. And so in one of my favorite moments is him in Cell, the Cell saga in Dragon Ball Z, when like Cell was just like, I want to fight the strongest, and so he just straight up taunting Gohan to the point where he like kills one of Gohan's friends, and that snaps him. And like it, and like I still get chills thinking about it all the fucking time. I mean, one time I led a topic one time for this event. And it was like something about like darkness something. And like I used that clip to like show like how you can use this as a way to like get strong. And like they were like, it was mostly 65-year-old women. They were just like, what the hell? And I was like, this shit powerful. And so I'm watching this Dragon Ball superhero movie. Because ever since then, like Gohan is also like real smart dude, everything, which is cool, you know, be smart. But that ain't what Dragon Ball Z, like, you know. And so I'm watching this movie, and it's like it was trying to be like a redemption thing for Gohan because for the most part he been getting smacked in all the other episodes and stuff. So what was beautiful, like I was struggling with it for a little bit because it felt like they rushed what should have been a great redemption arc where like he just got strong from getting mad again, when I'm just like, but this dude, like, it would have been dope if he would have like noticed like, yeah, I really haven't been like training. I really haven't been taking this very serious. Like I know threats may come, but I really haven't been taking things very serious. And, but like one of the things they did do is that like they tried like using his daughter as a way to like kind of wake him back up. And like, there's something, I don't know, there was something about it that like spoke to me that just said like when just pushed to that brink, to that moment, like what what am I gonna do and what am I gonna become like? And there's so many like, and I've been watching that so much, I feel like I've been right there again.
So I mean, that seemed like that was intentional. You know what I'm saying? Ryan in the film.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, but you know, in the sense of like redemption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like they needed that because it was, and he ended up like just being even stronger. And like I was trying to like think about like, what is it saying about like where I'm at right now? Because then I ended up like watching just like a bunch of old stuff of his, because I've always felt like I'm someone who I don't really try to like, I'm not really here for the shits. Like I'm not really trying to like start nothing. Like I'm really just trying to just stay out the way and just kind of like be chill and cool.
Yeah.
And it always seems like people try to come test me sometimes. And I'm just like, dog, like I promise I was trying to just stay out of this, but now you done, now like, I don't want to snap to a point where like, I don't see you anymore as human. And so like that there's like these moments right now again, where I think like I've been feeling that a little bit. And I think sometimes I need to watch that so that I can feel like I'm going to take this anger or like this frustration that I got and go and do something with it, because I'm sick of y'all. And like, I kind of felt that a little bit. And as I'm saying this right now, like that might have spoke to like a little bit inside of me of like what I went to go do this week, which was like, I went to go up to my job to go and try to learn another position. Yeah. So that I can continue to make more money and all these different things. Yeah. So like I was like, yo, like, y'all mind like, and I was really blessed to be able to like have been there for a while. And like, they normally don't do that, but he was like, man, you've been here so long. Like you've been doing nothing but like great things for us. Like I'd be happy to like show you how to do this and like maybe even work a few games being a replay operator. Yeah. But like every single time during these moments where I am just like at my lowest, when things have hit me, when like I don't feel like I have nothing left, and it just feels like something just like Gohan just like snaps, and it's just sometimes I gotta continue to watch that shit just so I can kind of like see what it looks like.
You know, so like guys it's been on before, where it's almost like, you know, I don't, like you saying about like TV and stuff, and I watch movies, but like you know, cartoons. I'll watch cartoons all day. I will watch cartoons all day. And if I do watch television, it's either to some type of sporting event, right? Something I enjoy. Or to like really escape, you know, watch movies, but I mean like TV, right? Or to kind of like escape, like I said, escape from reality a little bit. Yeah. And cartoons are a cool way to say, hey, listen, this is a very, quote, animated way or depiction of like animated way. And there's this depiction of emotion or something that can be experienced through that means of like, it's not real, but you can make it real and do what you want with it without being super overtaken, as if like what I'm watching is like violence, right? It's like it's violent, but it's not real. Yeah. So it keeps you in this very chill space of like, hey, take almost the artistry as opposed to letting it overtake you to do something, you know, say to fuel an anger or to fuel something that you're more experiencing. Yeah. Like escape into that. Yeah. So I'm saying that because like, you know, Dragon Ball, it's I mean, watch it in years, Ryan, but you know, I did watch it as a kid, you know, and I remember that, you know, Goku and his son's what, Gohan. Yeah, Goten is also Goten's his son too. Yeah. So I know a little something about a little something, yeah. But no, like, so go back to what you said earlier, right? Like, you know, maybe the idea is like back to the basics are like, how do you go and grab something that gives you emotion? Mm-hmm. And, you know, a lot of times it's a frightening space because where our emotions can take us. Yeah. But it's there. So you're looking at, what you describe as far as Gohan. It actually makes him a better version of him within the moment.
What do you mean?
Like, like you said, like, it was, I won't say emotion. Like, so, clearly, like the idea of the cartoon was to create some type of like tragedy in front of him, right?
Yeah.
But it brought out an emotion.
Yeah.
It brought out something that, they use anger, right?
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden he charges up.
Yeah.
And he steps into this, most powerful whatnot in the universe. So when you're saying like, whenever you reach this point, you're like, I got to watch that to reset a little bit. Cause it's like, all right, that's actually not a bad space to go for a moment. If I need that to say, okay, let me step into this real quick because it kind of pushed me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah. It kind of pushed me to say, all right, like now y'all want it, y'all got it. And it's like, okay, so all right, now let's keep it on level. But you had to go back and grab it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the wild thing. I think like, I don't think even, it always feels like God is like guiding me that way. Cause I'm just like, bro, I don't feel like I went to go grab that shit at all. Like it just like it just popped into my head of just like the other day, and I was like, man, I ain't watched that movie yet. Like I want to see what this Gohan thing's about, and like because normally I'm just continue to watch sitcom and kind of laugh and stuff like that. But like as I'm watching it, Mike, like tears coming down my face, like really, it's like I'm like crying, thinking of like just like yo, like. It's like I can feel your pain, dog. Like that's where I'm at. But like, yeah, it's like, and I realized like, oh, like, and that's when I can always tell when something's impacting me. I'm just like, yo, like I it's like you said though, I had to go back and grab that because man, like I can lose it in my frustrations and sadness, and I start to beat myself up on all these different things, man, like I've been doing. But then seeing that, it's just like, yo, like. Sometimes, bro, like, I try not to be an angry person. I try not to, but like every now and then, dog, like in order to like push me or like really motivate me, it's like you said though, like, I think I did have to go back and like look at that and grab that and just be like, nah, like this is who I am at times too.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Like, okay, so go back to that whole like escape from reality thing, right? When you're not finding true identity in it, but there's something that you saw in that I can definitely relate. So it's interesting because like you're saying like feeding ourselves mentally. Like I said, I've been watching back cartoons. You know what I'm saying?
Have you really?
Yeah, but listen, like, I'm watching Looney Tunes, man.
Are you really?
I was and still am. I was a huge Looney Tune fan.
Yeah.
It
was a Falcon and Leg.
Yeah, and like more than I it's kind of crazy, man. Like my son was watching like an episode of a Daffy Duck, right? And there's an episode where Elmer the Fudd and his dog are like hunting him, right? And Daffy he represents all the ducks, in the pond.
Yeah.
And it was like, I guess Elmer says something like, it's just this is just fair game. He's like, game, like fair game, like almost like what fairness is this? You got a hunting knife, a shotgun, and all that. He said, "What do I got? A bulletproof vest?" And I was like, he opened the chest, and it's like, he goes, "Oh, how did I get there?" And then they go in this boxing match. It's like, "Oh, you want to be in a game? Let's box." So for me, man, like I found myself reciting that word for word. And then my kids are watching and they're just having a blast. Like, oh, what's this? I'm like, those are Looney Tunes. Mm-hmm. They're not Paw Patrol. It's not, Gabby's Dollhouse. It's like, yeah, those are good. But like that, like those are the things I remember almost word for word. And I'm saying that because like, I guess me on this kick of gratitude and I've been saying this lately because I actually heard Giannis talk about one of the things he remembered Kobe said to him, and he was like, "Always be a kid." And Giannis said, like, he got it because he's like, kids always stay curious, and he's like, stay curious. And for me, I didn't take that portion of it, but I'm like, dang, like I've actually said to a few of my clients, like you want to remain a kid as long as you can, like in a sense at heart. And I know that's like something that's been repeated multiple times, but when you can have those moments that you actually recall, and I know I'm not referring to like, people's upbringing in childhood is all, sunshines and rainbows, I'm pretty much referring to the fact that like there's something in you that is very kid-like. And when you have those moments, like cartoons, right? When you have those moments and you can do that, it brought me to a place of, once again, humbleness, gratitude, like very presentness, and I'm literally like smiling in the moment because I feel like a kid, you know. And I would say this, right? Like, I probably could watch something else that took me to a place in my life that might have been a tough moment as a kid, but I would find it in like cartoons, where I was sitting, like what I saw, like it'd be a very, like a familiar smell, right? Or food. It takes me back to the childhood, but, in turn, I don't want to say in turn, but like what it does is now brings whatever I'm feeling very present, but now I'm a man. So like, I can process it a little bit better. Yeah. Right. So I mean, I guess I've been doing that too for myself, feeding myself, like going back to being kid-like.
Yeah. I think that's when emotions were the rawest, but also like the freest, where it's like, this is gonna come, it's gonna pass, and everything like that. Yeah. And like, but it's also like you said too, like this. Because as you say that too, like Dragon Ball Z was a big thing for like my childhood. Like I don't think I realized I was processing a lot through that. Mm-hmm. But every now and then, like I will just kind of like feel this freedom. Yeah. A little bit of just like, golly, like this is like so much fun. And like, yeah, I love, like my book was very, like a lot of the action scenes very influenced by Dragon Ball Z and a lot of other things. And so like, but it always keeps, like I said, it always keeps me curious. Yeah. It always keeps, it allows me to live life more fully emotionally. Yeah. Because there are times where like, how frustrated, angry can I get? How happy can I sometimes get? Especially as a dude. Like you start seeing a dude like running around. Like I've seen it sometimes. People just like, why are you so happy so much? Like, I don't know, dog. Like, I just watched this cartoon. This shit was funny as hell. Yeah, man. Like this was fun. Like exactly. And I'm like having a good time. And like I think that, as more stress starts to come about, you can lose what makes life, which is, yeah, dog. Sometimes shit is just silly. Yeah, true that. Yeah, and fun. I can't tell the last time I watched the news. I tell you that much. I'm over it. And so, but nah, man, cartoons all day. Shout out to that, man. Like Looney Tunes, bring them back. I think they're popping around, but the old school is kind of the best. And I must have this last time about like Popeye. So I'm trying to now deliberately go search like older cartoons. Right? Yeah, like I'm talking about like stuff when I was probably like 5. Mm-hmm. So don't really remember. My older cousins watched it, like the Centurions and stuff like that. Oh, wow. Yeah, we talking about the 80s. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so like, but like I want to go back further. I'm not trying to watch no Betty Boop and shit. You know what I'm saying? But like when I was like 3, 4, and 5, so I'll dig that stuff. So that's been cool. Even exploring that and just rewatching it puts me in a cool spot. So it's dope. Oh yeah. All right, y'all. Well, now it is time for the guest to expound upon this topic that he had inside of him that we have already previewed for y'all. Yeah. Okay, so look, man, this is, who knows where this shit gonna go. But like, I asked earlier, you guys, like, we talked about like gratefulness, and I asked Ryan, right? And I'm like, and it just kind of came out like pretty organic, right? And I asked, why is it so hard to be grateful? And
I'm asking because listeners are going to listen to be like, well, it's not hard. And it's like, okay, true.
But I would, that's.
So check this out. So I know where Ryan looking, right? It's like, but one could argue that
is not hard.
That it is hard.
Yeah.
And vice versa, right? And when I'm asking why I say, why is it so hard? I mean, why is it hard to be grateful in moments where being grateful is necessary? That's the question.
What's a moment that like you can?
Okay, so like the opposite of like being grateful is to not be, right? Let's just put it quite like simply, right? And I'm asking this because a lot of times I think we think about the thing. Now, mind you guys, I'm saying this not because I've been through some very strong hellish moments and like this is like my like redemption talk. It's not even that. Like I'm very blessed. The fact that like I can honestly say like there's not a lot of things I could think of, at least from my point of view, that has really challenged me and maybe derailed me in such a way, right? So I'm saying this with sensitivity, okay? But I think that the expectations on certain things in our life, the impatientness of things in our life, and then just I'm going to use the word pain because that goes with it, right? The turmoil, all the things that go with something that can make someone not feel appreciative, all wrapped up. We stay in that space. And because we stay in that space, it clouds us from the things that we can be grateful for. That's what I think. And I'm not saying like, look, I heard, what's the line that Gandhi said? Like, I was upset that I didn't have shoes until I saw a man with no feet. Mm-hmm. Something like that. And I think that's a Gandhi thing. Like, don't quote me, but it's around something like that, you guys. Like, either I was like about to complain or something regarding his shoes until he saw a man with no feet. And it's like, when you can repeat that in your mind, like I'm referring to those moments in our lives. All right. Like I said, I'm saying this with sensitivity, but when we actually can sit and think about our needs being met for the most part, like there are things that we can be grateful for. And if we stay in that space, it keeps things in perspective regarding needs and wants, in my opinion. And then all of a sudden you have this you have this kind of clarity of like, hey, listen, like you can rechannel how you feel about what you want in life. Then you start thinking about, well, what do you really want? Ryan, that is the hardest damn question for people to answer. It's so wild.
Yeah.
Like,
because you be thinking you want something and then there's so many factors as to why you start to question it, because either you got it and it wasn't what you wanted, or it never comes and something else comes. You're like, damn, this is better than what I thought.
Well, I want it. Yeah. Then you take stretch this out, Ryan. We can stretch it out further. Like, not only that, what you want, you probably can have, but not to your liking, in a sense, or not to your expectation. Okay, well, I'll make this simple for our listeners. Like, somebody say, hey, listen, I might have said this last time. Like, somebody say, hey, I want to travel. What do I want to do? I want to see the world. Okay, what's stopping you? And, well, I don't have the money. Well, how much do you need? I said the word need. It's like, well, how much do you need to go to Iceland? Well, why don't you look that up? And it's like, you actually have the means to do that. Well, I do, but I want to do this. Okay, well then let's say that. What do you want to do when you travel? Because you want to go to Iceland and go stay at the best hotel and then eat the best food and all this other stuff. So, okay, so you want to experience it the way you want to experience. Well, flip that. Like, that's what you want. And it's like, so do you want that? Like, because what you want, you actually can achieve. It's just how you want to experience it. And that is where the ungratefulness comes from. Per se, like, because your mind is thinking about the expectation in which I'm putting on what I really want. Then round two is this is like, okay, you have people to get things that they want, and all of a sudden they don't want it no more. Well, they ain't want that in the first place, or I guess I don't know what I really want. It's like, okay, here's what you do. Like we said earlier, go back to the basics. Do you have what you need? If you have what you need, it helps you to refocus and frame the things you really want in life. And it allows you to take your time to achieve what you want. I know I'm taking the whole segment, Ryan. I'm just saying. Like,
and I was gonna say what I was gonna ask too was number one, probably the only thing. Was I was going to tell you, you can move this little thing around right here, so that you get so that they're like little words right there. That are, you want those to be in front of you when you're talking.
All right, that's a little better.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah,
and now, that's it.
Yeah, gotcha. But nah, I mean, Ryan, go back to that question, man. Like
gratitude.
Like why?
You know I wrote this down when you spoke.
Okay, cool.
It's hard because for me, I haven't been someone who's kind of like, I ain't been through some things that other people have been through. But I do realize like even my parents and everything have been like that. They knew that like I would probably be the one that had the most issues.
Sure.
And I think I've been thinking about that a lot. Like I didn't grow up like my brothers. Mm-hmm. For most of their life, they had a 2-parent household. Mm-hmm. When my parents both broke up, like they were at one of their next lowest moments in life, both no money. My dad got cancer. Wife just in the house, don't even know if we're going to be in the house or not. My mom's at her lowest and brokest. So no one can do anything. So that's the reality to which I grew up in. Mm-hmm. And so I'm one of those people that's like, all right, like I know that people have been through worse, but I've also felt like I've also had a hard time with gratitude, because I feel like I try to do things the right way, mm-hmm. and it just still feels like the things that I'm desiring, the things I'm trying to get, keeps getting snatched from me. Yeah, and that becomes very hard to be grateful because it's just like, well, what am I doing? But one of the things I wrote down here was gratitude requires intention. Mm-hmm. And you were talking about this, like, and I think it, like I keep like picturing it in my head, is like what in order to find gratitude, I'm gonna need help if I've been through a lot. Yeah. Sometimes there's no way to see the silver lining through my own eyes. I think that's one of those things. And then, because I've had to do it for a lot of people here lately, where there's gratitude in the weakness. There's gratitude in this vulnerability. There's gratitude, like, and straight up saying, like, I was telling my sister this one day. She was like really struggling. And I told her, I said, and yet you're here and you're still being kind to someone. Mm-hmm. And she's like, dang. I'm just like, yeah, you have every reason where you don't have to be, but you're doing it, and that's dope. And to find the gratitude in that, that might have required someone else to help you see that. But then there's also has to be in intention. I have to be able to slow down to really assess that's it. Like I got to really slow down to be able to assess. And if I don't slow down and be intentional about this and be intentional about thinking about these things, I don't think I will have gratitude, because all I keep thinking about is the things that I don't have yet.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it happened the other week with tennis. I was playing, I'm playing a this is a very minuscule thing, but like I was playing like a ranking or two up from what I'm ranked at. Yeah,
you told me that.
And I
level up.
And there's a guy that, and I had just got through losing, and I was feeling just freaking, and I was just like, yo, I just got beat down. Like I just felt awful. Like, and like I called this guy up who I know, he plays tennis, and like we have good conversations.
Yeah.
And like I was just kind of like letting it all out. I couldn't see anything. All I did was feel like a failure. Like, man, like I probably shouldn't be doing this, yada yada. And he was just like, yo, like, yeah, it's frustrating. I hear you. And he was just like, was there anything that was working today? And I was like, honestly, I felt more comfortable today with my backhand, and I felt this and this and this. And he's like, you know what? Like, that's something that a lot of people struggle with. Like, so you know that you getting better at that. And I was like, damn, like, I guess you right. But like for me, gratitude, it requires me to sit down in the silence.
Yeah.
It requires me to I gotta like legitimately put effort into finding gratitude. Like, and I think that's the thing that makes it hard to be grateful, because gratitude requires effort, dog.
Man, it's so wow, right? Listen, okay, so today, right? And you know, we were talking. You was funny on the phone. We had Tammy on the phone, and I was talking about like my coaching experiences, right? And I was like, I've been a part of 2 teams, right? Basketball and football. Football first, right? And it was like the teams were like, okay. I think the biggest shift that happened with these 2 teams is that initially when I came on as a coach, they were losing programs.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that, and there was a lot of toxicity with that, because I'm going to say something that's pretty bold, because the demographic in which they were in, you don't fail at things. Like, you're supposed to succeed.
Yeah.
Like, the quote unquote system is designed for you to at least have enough help to where you can do things semi well.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and if not, you have enough resources and family structure to help you. Yeah. Right. Or at least get you the resources to still do well. But they were losing.
Yeah.
Okay. So
my best efforts were still getting me losses.
Okay. So here's the thing, right?
Damn, that needs to be said out loud.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm right. And listen, like, so I didn't think about it, the biggest shift that I saw, until I said this earlier today. I think one of the things that came on when the new coaching staff came on was that excellence and effort are going to be expected. And maybe not every coach on the staff thought this way, but I think we operated this way. The biggest shit was getting that group to understand, like, it's okay that you didn't win. And this is wild, right? Because I'm not this big, like, hey, pat on the back thing. When I say that, it's okay because you're going to learn something from it. So change your perspective. What did you do well? And when you figure that out, now we can grow on that. So it was like, change your expectation of
what a win is.
There you go. That was it. Because the dialogue was like, hey, we put so much, they put so much effort into winning. And it was like, they couldn't see what they were doing well. Does that make sense? So it was like, they never grew. They never knew how to build on something because your point of view is always empty. Okay. Then all of a sudden they taste a little victory, and it's like, okay, what did the tape show you? And you have some film of what you saw that you liked. And you saw some film of things you want to take off the film in the next game. It's like, well, that's the game of football. And it's like, okay, now go repeat it. You do know when you go out there, go do what you do well, right? And take off the things you don't do well. Okay, when it came to basketball, it was the same thing. I had a winning program that dropped, and I had no talent. Some semi-talent. But I had a group of girls when I coached that they were in it to learn.
Yeah.
And they were in it to say, like, all right, what was our objective this game? Look, we know we're not going to win. But we practice all week to be better rebounders. So go out there and do it. And it was this daily, like, what's another good habit? What's another good habit? What's another good habit? And they were able every day to be, it isn't that whole be proud of your effort. It's like, no, be proud that you displayed what you were focusing on in that moment. Now you got it. You won't forget it. Now keep going. So I'm giving that little stretch, Ryan, because when it comes to gratitude, it's like, you're right. Everything you were saying, like, I feel that. And I would imagine it's hard. When I'm saying to like people that are listening, it's like you do have to be very intentional about what it is that's good about what's not happening well. And if you can find it, right? And it does require help. If you can find it, like, you can grow from it. You know what I mean? So I get it. And this is, you know, this is something that, like, plenty of people are going to hear, right? And it's like, you know, gratefulness is tough when you've gone through a lot of stuff, you know? But ultimately, like, when you hear people that have these redemption stories, like, that's really the biggest key they find. They find
gratitude.
Yeah, they find some way to have some type of appreciation to why they are the way they are now based off what they went through. You know, I mean, trust, it can't be an easy road, and I get it, but I do think that is a big key and a big piece and a big key to the whole process of it. And I'm really being around on this whole thing versus needs and wants. I kind of been on that kick for a good little minute, and I'm like, man, I just think that's a tough question, man. Like,
I think you answered it though, Mike.
Yeah, right. Maybe I did, bro. Like,
let me tell you, like, why, like, from someone like me. Let me explain, like, what you said was super key. And I heard it, which is I have to adjust what my expectation of a win is.
Yeah,
and I have to really assess. This is what I mean, like, intention. Like, let me really sit down and see where I'm at. Like, I do this a lot with a lot of people when I'm talking to them. I'm really good at telling a story. So when someone, like, lets me get to know them and I get to see them,
yeah.
Like, I do this a lot with Lucy. Like, Lucy is really hard on herself, and I'm just like, Lucy,
shout out to Lucy.
Shout out Lucy, and I'm just like, Lucy, like, you are freaking killing it. And I'll go down and be like, Lucy, like, let me tell you, like, where this started, and then this happened, and this happened, and this happened. You still got this done. You still did this, and I was like, and you wondering why this might be feeling like this, and she like, damn, right? I'm just like, yeah. So one of the things that requires, like, and I'll often say, like, and in spite of that, you still doing this. Like, I'll say that to my sister. I'm just like, y'all, like, she's my god sister, but, like, her mom went to jail, dad gangbang, all these different things. Don't even like her, anything like that. And I was like, and in spite of that, you still kind to people. Like, that's fucking crazy. And so, like, being able to adjust, it's not even expectations, but it kind of is, but it's just like, adjust what a win is. Before a win is so black and white, like, well, we got you, like, you know, you're supposed to win this fucking game. It's the same thing I felt when I was going through all my shit. I was beating myself up when I was in that really, really, really the lowest place, I was beating myself up because I wasn't getting up and accomplishing anything.
Yeah.
I couldn't. And like, and even me and you had talked, and like, you left work to come and like, you know, see, like it was dark, man.
Yeah.
But I was beating myself up daily because I'm just like, I know I got stuff to do. And like, I was feeling bad because like, there'd be some days where like Lucy would show up here and I would just feel like I ain't got it. Like I'm showing up, but man, like I'm sorry, I'm not who I normally am right now. And I think one day, like, I think probably my therapist that was just like, Ryan, like, did you feel like getting out of bed today? No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Did you? Yes. That's it. Congratulations. Like, you did it. Did you brush your teeth? Nah, I didn't. All right. So slowly, based off of where I was in my life, I had to adjust. So all of a sudden there's gratitude of just like that force field that felt like was holding me down in the bed. I was able to push past that one day. And then next I was able to build off of that and then go, okay, shit, I'm brushing my teeth now.
Yeah.
Like, Mike, in every other way, if I were to tell that to anybody else that ain't been through that shit, they'd be like, you mean you just got out of bed and brushed your teeth? Like, what?
Man, I think you saying something, bro. Because, you know, I put myself, you know, in front of a lot of people that they feel you on that. I've been in some low places, man. It's almost like, dang, like, I barely got out of bed, but it's like, but you did.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so what? What you mean, so what? It goes back to that expectation thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's a victory.
Yeah.
Why? Because we know why.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, next victory, get out of bed, go brush your teeth. Okay. When we say brush your teeth, y'all, I was like, what the hell is this boy talking about? Look, it's like, no. We're saying that because, remember, you guys, everyone has a routine to start their day.
Yeah.
That is very symbolic. Now, I may be going a little deep on this, but there's truth in it. It's like you went another step in starting your day. And something as simple as like brushing your teeth. We can say it as a joke, but it's like, no, that was the next step. Starting your day, we can stretch that out. Starting a routine, we can stretch that out. And it's like, no, those are victories. Not only that, I actually made myself something to eat. And it's like, what do I normally do? Nothing. Not fuel myself, not take the energy. It's like, no, I made myself something to eat. Yo, take that. So you're making a lot of sense, Ryan. I mean, like I said, I guarantee there's people out there like, yeah, like that's, you know, I reach those low moments, but those are cool key victories, man. No doubt.
So when it comes to that question, though, of just like, why is it so hard to be grateful, like that you asked in the beginning, and we've kind of been touching on it in a little bit in the whole podcast, but we got to think about, like, it's hard to be grateful if I'm only thinking black and white.
Yep.
Like, and so wins and losses, this and that. And if I'm not thinking about, and you and I have talked about this, like the process, like, and like, if I'm not able to, and that's why I use the word intention, like, let me sit down and really assess what my life is, assess like these actual events that led up to this, to lead up to where I'm feeling, and being honest about that shit, like that will kind of pause me a lot of times. And I think it becomes hard to be grateful if I don't sit back, be intentional, assess where I'm at, and then adjust what a win is. And when I adjust what a win is based off of my circumstances, I think then I can start to be grateful a little bit more. Like, damn, man, like,
man, Ryan, you just hit the gold. Like, yeah, bro. Like, I mean, Ryan, like you said, like, what is a win based off my circumstances? That's huge, bro. Like, because that's ultimately the way to do it.
Yeah.
Like, when you start thinking about other people's circumstances, then your thoughts and emotions are like a runaway train.
Yep.
Because they're not your own.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's like based off my circumstances, right? And it's like, okay, what's the win look like? Go back, let's say the team we're coaching. It was like, nah, like based on where we at, yeah, what's a victory? Okay. But don't diminish it. Like I won't say diminish it. Don't bring it to a lower level by going back into other people's perspective or other people's circumstances. Frame it where it needs to be framed and stay within that. This is us. Like this is we. This is our. And it's like, this is our victory. And it's like, okay, what we're going to do, build on it. Now you got a team. Now you got a culture. And now winning becomes part of our process.
And those moments are going to, whenever, like, I think that creates a basics and a foundation to which when things get hard, that some people who might, like, if everything breaks apart, if everything's always going to, they might not know how to lose or might not know how to claw themselves back because they've never had to go through that process of the breaking where they have to like know like, oh shit, like you said with the team, like, oh, like, are we rebounding? Are we doing this? There was something you had said, like I was thinking about, not you didn't say it, but I had filmed a game last year, women's basketball game, and UNC women, they were like 13th in the nation. They were playing South Carolina State. Yeah. And the analyst was talking before and was just like, look, the South Carolina State straight up said, look, we know we're not going to win this game. It's friggin', it would be insane to put that on these girls and say they're going to do it. He said, however, what I did do is I told them, let's win in 5-minute increments.
There you go.
We're going to break this down to every 5 minutes. We're going to try to at least win those 5 minutes. And it shifted my mind to where I'm just like looking like, oh shit, they won the points in those 5 minutes. That's a win. That's a win. That's a win. So I imagine if they ever go down big and they like actually got some, some confidence about themselves, they'll be able to break it back down to, y'all, let's break it back down to 5-minute increments again, dog. Like, let's win these next 5 minutes. Oh shit, you're right. Like, so like, there's gratitude in that of just like, you're not going to beat UNC, but you can beat them in these 5 minutes. Yeah. And that right there is where you become grateful and being like, damn, I'm really grateful that like in those 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We won. So
man, framing it the right way. I mean, that's, I want to say, we keep saying it, man, but I'm going to stay on that kick, man. Like just, presentness is, it's a powerful thing. And not necessarily being present and finding like the woes or the sorrows, right? It's like being present and saying, like you said, let me sit for a minute, being still and pausing. Check this out, right? Like it's almost the cause and the cure. You know what I mean? How many people are like in a tough place and because they're alone with their thoughts or they're alone or still, like it takes them down this hole. And it's like, yeah, but hold on, right? You're don't take it out of context. Like being still means to just reflect for a second. Not sit in what you're sitting in, but do your best to try to reflect. And it's like, what I'm reflecting on, you got to be intentional. Based off your circumstances, like what does a win look like? Yeah, that's fly, Ryan.
And I think one of the things too, and we can, I figured it'd be like the last point. Like I was thinking about this too, that sitting part and being intentional, that might be hard for some people because imagine making a lot of bad decisions and now you got to sit with that and be like, I can imagine that moment becomes very, very, very hard.
You know what makes it worse, Ryan? We're becoming okay. We're also, and here's the other battle. We're becoming horrible at being patient.
Oh God, yeah. Well, I mean, like, look at it. I mean, yeah,
horrible, and that is, I mean, that fuels it. So I mean, you're having a lot of people dealing with a lot of things emotionally and mentally. It's almost like it's such a like patience is damn it. That's like now more than ever. That comment, like patience is a virtue. Holy shit, like it really is, right? And it doesn't mean like, sit back and don't seize opportunity. It just means like be patient in whatever the process is that you're setting forward. That's it. And like I said, then all of a sudden the opportunity when it comes along, you see it. You know, but once again, if your expectations are from through other people's circumstances like that, like it ain't gonna work. You know, or at least it's gonna be a long road. Yeah. You know, but if you can keep framing it to where, you know, play by play, and like what play are you gonna run is like, okay, go run and execute it. You know, you may get 10 yards, but if you get 2, you still got 2 yards. You're still going down the field. You know,
I had to straight up tell somebody this, like, there's a lot of this, let's get out of this survivor's mentality. Yeah. Like I see a lot kind of happening too. And there's been a few times I had to tell people, so you telling me this and this and this and this and this and this and this happened. And I straight up got to tell them, let's give it up to yourself for surviving, because I know some people that don't survive what you've been through.
Yeah.
So that, even once again, based off my circumstances,
yeah,
I'm going to adjust that. Like, you know, someone else would tell you, you got the survivors get to a thriving mentality. You might need to just sit here and be grateful right now that you survived.
Yeah. I'm with that.
Like, and so, you know, it does change circumstance to circumstance, man.
Yeah, no cap.
And it takes friends and other people that, you know, that don't live by Instagram philosophies.
Yeah.
So,
yo, good point, man. Damn, like, yo, put that on a shirt, bro. Like, golly, man. It's I feel like every time we go in here, we dish like social media, man. Like, at least that's me, y'all. Ryan don't do that, y'all. But and I really don't mean to do it, man. I guess it comes down to exposure, y'all. Like I just go off what people tell me, and I'm like, God, man, it doesn't seem pleasant at all in certain ways. There's a lot of good, y'all. Don't get it twisted.
There's a lot of good mindless.
There's a lot of good, yeah. And it's there we go, like anything, right? And it's just mainly because it's so accessible. Like, you know what I mean? It's like why I get a little bit bitter about it. It's like, you know, there's a lot of good, but there's a lot of mindless nonsense.
Yeah.
And I guess the fact that it's so easily accessed, that's what I'm getting at.
You got to be intentional with finding the mind. Like, you got to, like, there's this one guy I love on there. He basically just gets things that have wheels or rolls, like so a can or anything like that, or fruit, and he'll just put them on a treadmill and make the treadmill go full speed, and he'll like make them race against each other and just commentate like it's an actual race. And I'm just like, yeah, I mean, down for this, man. Yeah. And so, but it's a lot of good things.
No doubt.
Anyways, all right, y'all. Well, shoot, we're gonna go ahead and close this thing down. I think this was,
Yeah, a little deeper.
Yeah,
a little deeper than normal. But
to be honest, this is how me and Lucy's podcast normally is deep anyway. So this was a great one. It's actually gonna make me sit back and think for a little bit here. So
no doubt. Yeah, but, I'm on it. You know what I'm saying? Once again, shout out to Luce. You know, what's she doing? Working on a book? She's working on?
Yeah, she's doing her the audiobook.
Nice,
her book.
cool. Yeah, that's what's up.
So, she told me she's really excited. She's used to being on the microphone now, so
that's it. That's good. She gotta come back in the gym. Come on, Luce. I'm get on you. Yeah, we had one good day in the office. Like, I'm pumped up, Mike. Yo, you got me fired up. I ain't seen Lucy since. Man.
She told me she's been like doing small things.
That's
like
good.
Some push-ups. She do some
good.
push-ups now.
That's good. Good for her, man. Physically, be capable. You know what I mean? So
yeah, man. But anyways, y'all, we gonna go ahead and end this thing with the Serenity Prayer. Higher power, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. All right, Mike. Thanks for stopping up here.
Yeah,
y'all.
No doubt. Anytime, man. Yo, this is the place to be, man. It's cool. I appreciate it every time you let me on. No doubt.
Heck yeah. All right, y'all.